Welcome to Compassion Speaks, where we give a voice to the nonprofit in the community. I'm your host, Ezra Borrego, and today on our show we have Lynnette Carter from Living Hope Center in Show Low, Arizona. Welcome, Lynnette.
So good to be here. Thank you.
I understand that you have a center here, right here in Show Low, that's been here for some time, but tell me a little bit about the center, the Hope Center. What's it all about?
Well, Living Hope Centers is a nonprofit corporation that is a pro-life ministry hoping to foster hope in families and individuals. You know, we're really focused on giving Christ followers the opportunity to evangelize. We provide services that protect the unborn. We do a lot of mentoring with students and parents, and then we have programs to heal the hurting. So many of our clients come through our doors with, you know, past trauma and pain, and we have programs to help them with that.
Wow, that's pretty neat. That's
yeah.
pretty awesome. I'm sure there's a lot of people that don't even know that you exist because some don't deal with what you're dealing with, right?
Well, you know, that's true. You don't pay attention if it's not a service that you need at the time. So what we do is we have pregnancy resource centers in different locations in Arizona, but we did start right here in Show Low, and we have a maternity home for homeless pregnant women who don't have a safe place to just think through their options of what they're going to do now that they're in an unplanned pregnancy. And we have a really awesome thrift store. So
I've been in it. It is pretty awesome.
Thank you.
And I used to go bowl in that thrift store back in the day.
Right. My staff thinks I'm crazy, but I made them leave the bowling alley lanes and the carpet with the bowling balls and the pins on it just for nostalgia reasons.
That's awesome. I learned when I was 12, I went there when I was a scout, and I got 5 strikes my first time I bowled. I was a pitcher when I was growing up, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. So you've been in existence for how long now, and how did it all start? How did the Living Hope Center start
Well,
to begin with?
There was a lady who grew up very pro-life over in the Snowflake Taylor area named Dinah Monahan. And she and her husband started taking pregnant teenagers into their home. And as an outreach of that, they felt that God was calling them to open a pregnancy resource center. So back in 1997, they did that. They opened the first pregnancy resource center here in Show Low, kind of in conjunction with a mountain medical clinic. 2 years after that, they applied and received their 501c3 and moved into their own building. And we've just been growing and growing ever since then. This will be our 22nd year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
It really is awesome.
So you serve not only people here in the White Mountains, you probably get people that are passing through that looks up some information where they can get help, and sometimes you get people that are just passing through, right?
Well, certainly. Just last night we had a couple who are down and out, and the wife is 6 months pregnant, and they ended up hitchhiking, and
wow.
It was snowing at 4:30 yesterday afternoon, and they had no place to go, and we were able to put them in a hotel for the night and help them make arrangements to get on their way today with some other resources, reaching out to Bread of Life over in Holbrook, and all the nonprofit organizations here work together to meet the needs of people. That's not our primary purpose, but one of our core values is to exceed expectations. And so just because we don't provide the service doesn't mean we're going to leave people out in the cold.
That's awesome. Kind of stepping outside the box.
Yeah.
Seeing where you help, where you can.
Exactly.
To bring comfort. And you said she was 6 months
She
pregnant.
was 6 months pregnant, and
wow.
they were displaced, and no money, no food, hadn't eaten since yesterday. The day before yesterday, and
wow.
We just can't let people suffer, and so we're going to help them.
And you gave them hope.
We did. Yeah.
So I know you don't do this alone. I know your husband helps you out a lot, and you have other employees and maybe even a few volunteers. How many volunteers and employees do you have?
So my husband is a volunteer full-time, so he manages the thrift store completely for free, and it saves the ministry money and takes a lot of stress off my plate. So yay, Brian. We have 25 employees, and we have hundreds of volunteers.
Wow. So how do they find out about volunteering to go and help out with the Living Hope Center? How do they get word to do that?
Well, you know, most people find out through a friend or at their church. A lot of people look us up online. We're on all the social media sites, and we have a website, livinghopecenters.org. They can go to our website and fill out a volunteer application, and then we receive it and we invite them to our training and get them involved. There are lots of different ways that you can volunteer. We have a thrift store, so if you like to go through donations and process stuff and see what you're going to buy first, that's always a good thing to do. If you are technical and you like to put things online, we have an online eBay store that we always need help keeping that stocked. And anything that you like to do, answer the phone, clean up. You know, if you want to work directly with clients and your heart is to help people through a hard time, we can train you on how to be a client advocate. There's literally no skill or passion that you have that we can't put to use.
That's awesome. So do you have some of the women that have gone through your program come back and serve and help?
Yes, we do. We actually have 2 former Hope House residents that work at our thrift store, and many of our clients come back and volunteer or act as mentors to other young women that are coming through the program, or other young men that are coming through the program, because we work with families, not just women.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you were, when I was visiting with you earlier just to get to know you a little bit, Lynnette, and you were talking about, you said you just don't help women. You're talking about some of the men that you're able to help. You're able to have a man get united with one of their children.
Oh, that's a really fun story. We had a young man who didn't even know he was a father, and DCS had taken custody of a small child, and he was named as the father. And they did the paternity test, and he came to us, and we taught him how to be a daddy.
Wow.
And he held his 15-month-old daughter for the very first time in one of our classrooms, and we were able to help him all the way through the process, and he ended up getting full custody of his little girl, and sends us pictures and keeps us abreast of their life. And so yeah, that was pretty fun. That was cool.
That is neat.
It's not an isolated story. We help a lot of guys. Last year we had 613 clients, and 99 of them were men.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Isn't
well,
it?
That's neat. So there's a show we were talking about too. It's called Courageous, and that talks about the role of the father, of stepping up and taking care of the family, taking care of their children, and just basically protecting them and helping them know what their role is in the family. It's a great show, and that reminded me, when you tell me that story, it reminded me of that show.
Yes.
It's incredible. It's about police officers, and yeah, it's a good show to see.
Yeah, I'll have to watch it. We teach a practical fatherhood curriculum and men's fraternity just to help guys, sort of man up and do what's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. So you have people, as they know what's going on with what you're doing, there's a lot of people that want to kind of probably come on board in some way. Some can't probably help physically, but some probably can help donate and support your cause. Tell me something about some of the, is it churches, individuals, who all is here on the mountain that helps you guys out? And
we do have 35 partner churches that help us in some ways. We're very interdenominational. We're not run by a local church, but we work with local churches. But most of our funding comes from private individuals and through our thrift store. So it matters where you shop, Ezra, and it matters where you donate your stuff. So bring it to us instead of other organizations out there. And then obviously you can always donate directly to the programs. We are a qualifying charity for the state of Arizona, which means that you can give up to a certain amount and take it dollar for dollar off your Arizona state taxes.
Wow, that's good to know.
And so if everyone's getting ready to do their taxes for 2018, well, you have until April 15th to donate $400 as an individual or $800 as a couple, and they will take that straight off your tax liability.
Wow.
So that means if you go figure your taxes and you're going to owe the state of Arizona $410, you get to decide, am I going to give this to Arizona or am I going to give it to Living Hope, who is going to help people right here in my community? You're going to spend the money one way or the other, you might as well give it to us.
That's awesome. Keep it on the mountain and have it go to a great cause. It's making a big difference.
It makes a change in people's lives, right?
That is awesome. You know, we have, in a little bit, we're going to take a break, but but I want to ask you a question. Do you have people, some of the girls or the ladies, the women that come back, do they come back and like maybe 2 or 3 years later and tell you how they're doing and just thank you or whatever, give you big hugs or whatever? Do you get a lot of that?
We do. Yes, we do. We call our ladies Women of Hope, and we try to stay in touch with them forever. So
Wow.
we keep an open dialogue going. We're not like a social service where you're just a number. I mean, we want women and men that come into our organization to know that you matter, and we stay in touch with you.
So you make a connection and you don't lose that connection.
We don't.
Are there some that are reluctant to do that, or you have most of them that want to stay in contact with you?
There are some people that are more private, and there are people that tend to not engage in the services the way they should necessarily, and maybe are still making difficult choices, and they're less likely to want to stay involved. But for the most part, we have a very good retention rate, and most people are really happy to come back and say, my life is always different from the help I received from you. Every year we do a big banquet, and we invite former clients and former residents to come and share their testimony at that banquet. And we've had stories from 18, 19, 20 years ago.
Wow.
Whose life has changed forever because they came in and had a free pregnancy test or a free ultrasound at Living Hope Centers.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I bet that brings you a lot of comfort and peace knowing that's, because you never know on how much impact you're having.
Right.
And then you're giving that back. They're giving that back to you.
It gives you a little bit of insight when you see them 18 years later and you see the child that they didn't abort, and this child's life is going on to have these accomplishments, and you know that ripple effect is just going to go generation to generation to generation. You cannot calculate how much good you've done.
Right.
It's impossible.
It is. That's right. And the impact you've had on these people that's probably all over the world now. They probably can be in New York and could be in Africa or whatever. Who knows?
Who knows?
But that's neat that you stay in contact with them. That's really, really awesome. So it shows that they're part of a family.
Yes.
That's, like you said, that they're just not there for a little bit and now they're off and you're to the next person.
Yes.
It's not like that at all. That's pretty awesome. So you have a lot of supporters that are passionate like this, as you are, that want to give, and some give monetary, some give their time, and so you have probably lots of different churches, and I think that's neat to be able to have a lot of different churches come together to help with this cause.
It's a really awesome picture of the body of Christ, that, you know, we're not all the same, but we are all one body, and we're all here to support and love our neighbors.
That's right. And that's what it's all about. I think that's probably where the women feel really at peace, that they know they're being loved. It's not that you're there to make some money off them, because I know that's not at all. You're there to help them be happy, to make a good choice, and for them to not have major regrets. But you're not there to force them to any decisions. You're there to make them feel at peace.
Well, absolutely. And in fact, we don't charge anything for any of our services. We're able to tell our clients and our residents, you know, people love you and care about your welfare and your future, and that's why they give money to us. So we're not going to make any money off your decision, and your decision's not personally going to affect my life. So we can give you some sort of white space around you to breathe and really think through the options that you're facing and make a decision that you're the one that's going to have to live with. Women are not dumb. They can make good decisions, and they just sometimes need to be in a place where they're not being pressured.
Right. Sometimes we as human beings, we react when we feel like we're in a corner, and we react out of fear, and we make rash judgments or decisions in our life. And I think what you're doing is you're helping them feel an openness, and you feel like they're relaxed, and it's their choice. But you're giving them some feeling of love from Christ and from all of you guys, to help them to know what's inside them, their spirit and their heart, and that baby that's inside them, and how responsible they are for that person and for themselves.
It's so true. You know, God could have made us anyway. I mean, we could have had children grow from seeds, you know, but God made us to be intertwined with our mothers, and the mother's life is so valuable and so important, and the baby's life is so valuable and so important, and we can't help the mom without helping baby, and we can't help baby without helping mom. And so that's what we try to do.
That's awesome. That's incredible. So you've been doing this for a while, and I know you're not done. I know you have a lot of goals and a lot of vision still left in you, and how you want this seen in the future. What are some of your things that you'd like to see happen with the Living Hope Center?
Well, certainly, I'm not done. We house 4 women and their children at a time, and we're so grateful to have the bandwidth to do that. But at the same time, I'm so sad because I get 3 to 5 applications every single week from women who need a safe place to go. So one of my biggest desires is to open a much larger facility with more beds so that we can help more women that are in this same situation.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So I bet it does. You know, there's some that probably pass through here that don't even know what's happening, that you have this facility. How do you get the word out to people that you are available? Do you have websites? Do you have a Facebook page? How do they find out?
Yeah, we have all that stuff. We have a website and Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and Snapchat. That's the way this generation communicates and connects with each other. So
Right.
we have to keep up with the times.
Yep.
So most women do find us through an online presence of some sort. But other organizations know that we're here, and so we get referrals from DCS, from the FBI,
Wow.
from other pregnancy resource centers around the state. Our maternity home is different in that we don't have a time limit. They can stay as long as they need to, as long as they're making progress toward their goals. And we let them bring their children with them. So, and they don't have to be planning to place for adoption. So we're much more inclusive than some other maternity homes in the nation. And frankly, there aren't that many maternity homes. So there's
Wow.
a huge need.
Yeah. Sounds like it. Well, the thing that you mentioned I like is that you're wanting them to make progress, that you're wanting them to do something while they're there instead of just get served. Because I know in some of the things that I do in the community is when somebody starts doing things, is their self-worth increases.
Goes up, yeah.
Yeah, and that makes a big difference. They make more rash decisions when their esteem goes up and
For sure.
giving back.
For sure. And well, you've probably seen this too. People that are homeless or just barely making it, and they can only think about today.
Right.
And so making a goal for the future is such a foreign concept that they've never had those little wins that can build to a bigger win, that can build to a bigger win. And so we're giving them the space and opportunity to do that. All of our residents learn job training. We help them get their GED or go on to take college classes or a trade of some sort. And they're required to save 80% of their earnings so that when they do eventually leave us, they have a nest egg. We help women get their driver's license. You would be amazed how many 30-year-olds have never driven a car.
Wow.
It's
You don't think about that.
right. I was dying to get a driver's license, right? They don't. And
Wow.
so just simple things, simple triumphs, and they're like, oh, wow, look what I did. And then they can go on to do another one. And it does build that self-worth and that value and knowing that they have something to offer.
Yeah. Gives them more independence.
Exactly.
You know, the word independence is an interesting word because I know that when we feel that we're totally independent, we're really not because we depend on each other
Right.
always. We're always
Right.
connected to each other.
For
You know,
sure.
my mom brought me into this world. I was dependent on her. I had teachers. I had professors. I have people that I didn't even know that come and help me when I needed help. So through life, we're never really independent.
Right.
So that's pretty neat. That they know that they can have a resource that they can depend on, and that they can help themselves be more ready to give help to others. Because when we feel that we're able to serve or give back that hope, we do want to give back instead of just
Right.
take.
Right.
We want to make it keep flowing and do our part. And that's when we feel like we're here on this earth for a purpose, and
Right.
for a reason. And what you guys are doing is you guys are helping these little ones that are inside their mamas to be able to have a hope that they have able to make it to this earth and serve their purpose.
Right. They just need a chance to be born, right?
Yeah. And what you guys do is what's really neat is you're doing it with love, and you're doing it to where you're helping this mom to feel that they have a lot of choice. They have a lot of options. And when those options are opened up and they're not just stuck with one option, like they're forced to do this because someone says you need to go do this, where they have all these things and their responsibilities are on them with help, with love, and probably prayer. You probably pray for these wonderful women that are in a decision-making mode where,
Definitely.
holy moly, what do I do? And they give them knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
I think knowledge is power. The more knowledge we have of things, the more choice that we have. And I know when we get dependent on things like substance abuse and stuff like that, we have less choices.
Right. We limit our own choices
We
a lot
do.
of times.
So what you're doing is you're helping them get those choices opened up to their minds with love and knowing that mom's intuition is to protect and to have a child eventually, or even adopt. You don't even have to have. You mentioned that you have adopted children.
I do.
So and you love them and nurture them just as they're your own.
I do.
That's just what moms do.
Yeah, we just nurture. Yeah,
Yeah, that's awesome.
definitely. Free will is one of the greatest gifts God gave us, and we would never want to take that free will away from anyone. But mamas, they want to carry their babies, and sometimes they fulfill their responsibility by parenting, and sometimes they fulfill their responsibility by finding parents and placing that child in a loving, caring home. but that always gives them more dignity and more self-worth than when they've chosen abortion.
So how do people get a hold of you besides on social media? Do you have phone numbers
Yes.
that you can share with the community?
Yes. Our number is 928-537-9032. And we do have one of those handy-dandy voice prompters. So you can call that number and listen to the prompts, and you can get to our center in White River, which is the only center on a reservation in America, to our center in Springerville, our center here in Show Low, or our newly opened center in Phoenix.
Wow. So you're connected with those 4,
Mm-hmm.
and then are you connected to other locations of other centers like yours? Do you guys intermingle a little bit?
We
of
work
information?
together, yeah, as much as we possibly can. We work with other maternity homes. When we're full, we refer back and forth to each other. We've been doing it so long and so well that I actually am coaching other organizations on how to run their centers and how to develop their funding and that sort of thing. So we're trying to give sister centers a hand up by just sharing the knowledge that we've learned over time. I mean, Dinah was fabulous, and everyone around here knows her, and she's passed along her wisdom, and we just try to pass that along to other locations.
That is awesome. Well, thank you for being here. It's been such an honor to get to know you, Lynnette.
Oh, thanks.
And for the service you do for our community and beyond. Thank you so much for being here with us. Until next time, it's good having you here. Thank you for joining us today. And stay tuned next month to hear Compassion Speaks.